Good morning. Our first capstone this morning is from Evelyn McManus, and this is her thesis statement. In most cases of type 2 diabetes, nutrition therapy is a great solution in the case to help a person become less dependent on insulin while also giving him a chance to escape the stigma of diabetes and gives him a better quality of life. Please welcome Evelyn.
24/7, 365, taking insulin and monitoring blood sugar to stay alive. A full-time job with no pay, breaks, or vacation, only injections and finger sticks. Living with diabetes can be time-consuming, giving no time for fun without worry, and the freedom to eat and drink what a normal person would desire. No time off, and even sleepless nights trying to control a high and low blood sugar level. In most cases of type 2 diabetes, nutrition therapy is a great solution to help a person become less dependent on insulin, while also giving them the chance to escape the stigma of diabetes and gives them a better quality of life. Many people's lives are surrounded by food, either overprocessed or healthy foods. These foods can have a huge impact on the health of your pancreas. The pancreas is an organ in the stomach area of your body that affects the functioning of your whole body. The pancreas releases insulin, which helps your body regulate glucose levels given by the food you eat. Insulin is a medication that is given to diabetics to control high glucose levels. But this medication can be very deadly if too much is taken at a time. Your body usually gives off insulin, but when you are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, the doctors have seen that your pancreas does not give off insulin or any insulin at all. We will now explore the history of diabetes, how nutrition therapy works, and how you can use nutrition therapy to help lower glucose levels and insulin intake. We will be defining terms as this. Diabetes is a chronic illness in which a person's pancreas cannot produce enough insulin to regulate the ever-changing glucose levels in the human body. The National Academy of Medicine broadly defines nutrition therapy as the treatment of a disease or condition through modifications of nutrient and whole food intakes, with regular physical activity and often pharmacotherapy, which are key components to improving diabetic health. Remission is defined as a period of time when an illness is dormant in the person's body, and if the person goes back to their old habits, the condition will come back too. For this presentation, we will be defining stigma as a mark of shame. There was a case that showed 3 studies of people with type 2 diabetes in whom nutrition therapy was implemented who reported statistically significant improvements in quality of life. Diabetes was discovered in 250 BC by Apollonius. The name diabetes was not given to the illness till the late 6th century. When testing for diabetes in the time it was first discovered, medical doctors would use urine and ants to test how sweet the urine tasted. Later, doctors would test the blood of a diabetic to test how much hemoglobin is found on the blood cell. There are 2 different types of diabetes, but I will mostly be talking about type 2 diabetes, which typically develops later in life and is easy to put into remission. Type 1 diabetes comes during childhood, and there is no way of putting it into remission because the pancreas never worked in the first place. Diabetes is a rising problem in America. Over 38 million people in America have a type of diabetes, and 90% of those cases are type 2. Over 100,000 deaths happen every year due to complications with diabetes. These numbers have almost doubled in the last 20 years. The change in ultra-processed food is giving people more reason to settle for these cheaper yet deadlier foods. These ultra-processed foods give more health problems to people and overall hurt the functioning of the pancreas due to excess amounts of carbohydrates. When the carbohydrates enter the bloodstream, they turn into sugar and coat the cells, making the pancreas work harder. The pancreas uses an enzyme to remove sugar from the blood cell with the help of insulin. With overconsumption of these ultra-processed foods, the pancreas can go into overtime, causing it to lose its function. These days, more and more people are being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. and not giving themselves the chance to escape the stigma brought on by diabetes. Some symptoms of diabetes can include excessive thirst, frequent urination, unexplained weight loss, extreme hunger, fatigue, blurry vision, slow healing sores, and sometimes a sugary sweet smell in the mouth. To test whether someone has diabetes is called an A1C test. This test measures how much glucose is found covering the blood cell. Hemoglobin is a part of the blood cell which carries oxygen through your body. But when sugar is present, it causes the pancreas to work harder to remove when helping the body receive more oxygen. An interview was done on a lady named Stacy who was asked how she was able to overcome her diabetes. And she states that during the pandemic, she began to feel very bad and feeling all of the normal symptoms of diabetes. And she did not want to acknowledge that she was feeling these symptoms and pushed off getting tested. Stacy eventually got tested and found that her A1C level was 11%. An ideal percentage for an A1C is below 5.7%. She was beyond worried, but the doctors assured her that she could reverse it. She read an article where it covered the growing movement in dietary and diabetes being reduced by a low-carb diet, which she tried. She was able to turn her diabetes around and improve her life, in turn giving her the chance to escape the stigmas of diabetes. The Dexcom and Omnipod are seen as stigmas because they have the ability to single out people who have diabetes who might not want to show or say that they were diagnosed. These stigmas can be hard to manage. A Dexcom is a continuous glucose monitor that sits on your skin and has a tube that enters your body, reading your blood sugar level 24/7. This device is connected to your phone and alerts you when your blood sugar is going too high or low. An Omnipod is another diabetic tool that holds insulin and administers half a unit to a whole unit of insulin into your body every hour. This device also sits on your skin and has a tube that enters your body, pushing insulin whenever you need or once an hour. These two monitors are seen on the outside of the body and are dead giveaways that a person is diabetic. They are stigmas that a diabetic must live with unless they seek different ways to improve their A1C and insulin resistance, like nutrition therapy. Insulin is the only way to bring down a high glucose level. However, it was not discovered until 1921 by Sir Frederick Banting and Charles Best. Insulin is the best yet worst medication to happen in medical and diabetic history. This medication is very deadly when too much is taken without enough food and can cause a diabetic to enter a coma and maybe die. Jay, a man from the UK, was able to watch what he ate, work out, and work with doctors to be able to achieve his goals and avoid the diabetes journey he was beginning. Jay struggled with alcohol and smoking cigarettes. He was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in September 2014. In his story, he says he had been feeling very poorly for such a long time and was overweight and very unfit. He had no place to turn to and wanted to change the way he looked and felt. He woke up one morning and decided enough was enough and needed a change in his life. Jay decided to eat food that was better for him and would improve his health by exercising and strength training. He dropped 190 pounds, took up cycling, and overall turned his life around. Having diabetes can be truly life-altering and can take a toll on a person. Many lifestyle changes must happen after the diagnosis. The now diabetic would need to give up the lifestyle they were leading before. This can cause withdrawals. Back to the interview with Stacy, a doctor told her that she needed to cut down her sugars by saying, if you're at a birthday party, instead of eating a whole piece of cake, just eat half. This would still be unuseful because you are still consuming the carbohydrates and sugars. This can ultimately mess with your body's ability to regulate anything. Nutrition therapy is a change in your diet and exercise routine that is closely monitored by a doctor, who is able to change the diet and pharmacotherapy needed when the patient is not seeing significant changes after a while of using nutrition therapy. An exercise routine in the therapy can look like alternating cardio, swimming, and strength training at least 2 to 3 times a week for 10 to 30 minutes. This can look like walking 10 minutes after each meal or strength training for 30 minutes. Nutrition therapy helps type 2 diabetics significantly lose weight, lower use of insulin, blood pressure, and cardiovascular risks. It has also been seen to manage any chronic diseases, prevent complications, optimize overall well-being, and energy levels. However, there are many setbacks depending on the motivation of the person using the therapy. People must be very disciplined and able to not cave at any little inconvenience. Most patients using the therapy are pre-diabetic, have type 2 diabetes, or have gestational diabetes. There was a case study of 11 people with type 2 diabetes who said nutrition therapy significantly decreased doses of glucose-lowering medication used. Nutrition therapy has been seen to also improve self-perception of health status, and increase knowledge and motivation, and decrease emotional stress. With these dietary and exercise changes in a diabetic's life, you can see a true change in their willingness to achieve greater things. The goal of nutrition therapy is to promote and support healthy eating patterns, as well as emphasize a variety of nutrient-based foods, all in order to improve overall health, while also putting type 2 diabetes into remission. Improving one's overall health can consist of an improved A1C, achieving and maintaining specific weight goals, and prevent complications of diabetes. Many people do not want to be confined with what they need to consume to please the Dexcom and Omnipod. Diabetes is a tricky battle for most people in the world. In the tug-of-war battle, diabetics may consume too many carbohydrates, and then their blood sugar skyrockets. Or they do not eat enough, and they have a super low blood sugar. Starting today, I want to challenge you to write down the amount of carbohydrates you eat and drink in a day, and compare it to the FDA's daily recommended value of 275 grams. Then I want you to multiply it by a week, a month, and a year, and really look at the number. A diet high in carbohydrates over time can increase the risk of health issues, not just diabetes. Are you willing to compromise your health or learn better habits with nutrition therapy? Your future self will thank you. Thank you.
We'll begin with faculty questions, please.
Mr. Bergen. They can lean on their family and friends to help them keep up with their diet that they choose and their exercise routines by going with them or dieting with them themselves. And they can lean on doctors to also help them, which it is closely monitored by a doctor, so the doctor can help them figure out which diet would work best for them. And they can also try to just keep up their own motivation and help themselves. Ms. Mollisol.
Thank you for your presentation. I'm going to piggyback on Mr. Bergen's question just a little bit. You mentioned in your answer about family and friends helping that along. Many of us who have older parents, eventually in life they become your children, and you're having to monitor them and so on and so forth. What advice would you give when some of your siblings are willing to adhere to your parents' diet or the necessary treatment, and then some of your siblings are like, well, mom should have a treat every once in a while, so on and so forth. What would be your advice to those family and friends who may be buying into the nutritional diet you're talking about?
I would tell them that Sometimes giving them that extra treat can make their life a little bit shorter, which will put into perspective how bad the illness that they have could be.
And to follow on that, as well as their administering their, I think, their sugar and whatnot, sometimes our parents do surgery or whatever, and they come home and they, as far as administering, their sugar sticks and whatnot, should every family member who's caring for them go through some sort of treatment so that they know, or, education so that they know how to do a proper stick and understand the difference between their levels?
Yes, I do think they should.
Thank you. Thank you for your informative presentation. In that same line of thinking, you use the term of the habit. That it is a tricky battle to develop new habits, new lifestyle, find balance for you. I'm wondering if there's a balance between the two protocols for healing in using insulin and while you train yourself into this new habit lifestyle. Do you guys?
I do believe that trying to figure out the new lifestyle, you will need a little bit of insulin, but over time, you can start just using less and less and substituting that with better foods to be able to not have to use as much insulin every day.
Thank you.
Mr. Anson?
Thank you for your presentation. As of 2022, 1 in 8 people worldwide lives with obesity. Some of you cited some of the evidence that you described for us today as a reason for calling this a diabetes epidemic. And so my question is about connections between those two. I'm curious if there's an age that we should be maybe hyper-vigilant to watch out for some of these issues. Like when does the risk maybe go up for people? And why are these two so connected, do you think, obesity and diabetes?
In my paper, I talk about obesity rates and how most people with type 2 diabetes tend to be obese. And for the ages, you want to watch between 30 and 45 because that's when lifestyles are pretty much set in stone and have higher chances of giving a person type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, and are there any like deeper reasons you think why it's these two that are in connection with each other? Is there something about obesity and diabetes that are like just perfectly designed to go together?
It's a lot of lifestyle changes or it's a lot of lifestyles that the person has that can affect how their body works and functions. Yeah.
Are there any senior questions? Thank you, Evelyn.